Strategy, I will be teaching us a very important strategy. I started with doing videos. I did a particular video that went viral. Of course, I did chemistry. So I was doing chemistry video during the time. I just wanted to engage the students. So, I was writing chemistry textbook. And then I said, okay, with this, let me be doing the video part. So that when the textbook is ready, I will just put it inside that textbook and people can just be watching what I wrote in the book. And I started. But I did a particular topic then. If I remember, it was electrolysis. It was not conventional with what we saw in textbook. I started receiving call. People sending message on DM. Can you teach my son chemistry? Can you do this? I thought it was a joke. Begin to have 20, 30. If you observe the trend, people are moving from Nigeria to overseas, but they still require a Nigerian teacher to follow their children up. The reason is that, number one, we just happen to be in this particular environment. Apart from that, we are brilliant. The level of hard work that we put to work cannot be matched anywhere in the world. Cannot be matched. The essence of this talk is to now open you up to opportunities and the actions you need to take. Now, let me say this before I go deeper. Online teaching cannot replace the physical. However, it can support it. It can make it better. Of course, those students that are taking online classes, they still have the schools that they are going, right? But the parents know that they need their children to be well grounded. And they know the kind of quality education that we offer in Nigeria. Nigerians are brilliant. To start with, I usually encourage people, if I'm having a one-on-one session for anybody that wants to start, I usually encourage people that before you start, have a plan. Planning is very important. You will see that a lot of people, because they now say money is there, no planning, no training, no preparation, and the person jump. By the time you do one or two, and then they say, and then one thing about this the online teaching is that immediately they see your stuff and you are not good enough, they remove you immediately. Structure and planning matters a lot. So if you are starting first, the first question is, do you have the knowledge of online teaching? The second is, do you have the skill of online teaching? The third is, do you have the experience of online teaching? There is where I'm going. The number 4, do you have the attitude? How many of you have about 3 to 4 digital skills here? That you can, how many of you can operate Zoom very well? Okay. How many of you have email? Let me start with that. I had an experience today. Some people, no, it will look funny. It will look funny. I was standing outside there, and somebody was like, I don't have email. In this age, I was like just funny. So please, I want us to respond. How many of us have email here to start with? So if you don't have, okay, if you don't have, that's where you're supposed to start from. How many of us can use Google Classroom very well? How many of us can use Kahoot? How many of us can use Nearpod? How many of us can use Empathico? Now, why am I asking all of these things? You just don't wish to start something if you have not acquired the right skill. So, planning, preparing, learning, start first. Why it is good that you wish that you want to become, and that's why I say you have to set a goal. In online teaching, recommendations matter a lot. In fact, up to today, Faluade told me that she don't do a lot of flyers and the likes, that people just recommend. When people recommend you, the level of trust and credibility is higher. And if before people would recommend you, that means there is something you have done. So to start with, I told you, start to learn about online teaching. Then the second one, acquire digital skills. Then the third one is that you yourself practice first. In terms of practice now, what I will say is that some of us have students. Some of us are teachers, some of us are school owner. I started with my student. Then as at that 2020, I was still in class, I was still teaching. So my chemistry student in school, then I have a tutorial center, very big tutorial center in Ekiti. I took time to start using online. Even during holiday, I would just say, we have online class. You know, the students are always happy, tell their parents. I've informed the school authorities then. I told them this is what we are going to do. I messaged all parents. So during that holiday, 2021 holiday, I was taking them. They were like, they did not know. They thought I was doing it for the school. While I was doing it for the school, I was doing it for myself. To learn more. So I was getting feedback from the students. How do you see this class? Then I asked the parents, how do you see it? So I was using it to correct myself. I had a target that by December or January, I'm going to start. But 6 months earlier, I was practicing with what? Students. So why am I saying that? If you are going to start, after you have learned the skill and the knowledge, the next thing you do a demo. Then another thing, in starting, there's something called demo classes. Of course, I will still go to structuring later. Someone recently, I said, you are complaining that your parents are leaving. Why would they not leave? Somebody registered. Somebody started. No invoice. You have packaged yourself to the extent that you brand it to the extent that people will say, turn it here, Koju. How do you start as a beginner? I've told you the processes. Now, as a beginner, how do you start? Number one, already established platforms. Let me use. I want to list some of them. You can start with platforms. Okay, like that, an example of those platforms. iPrep Online. You can write it down. You have iPrep Online. You have Gradely. You have Blooming Kids. Blooming Kids is a very good friend. Online iPrep. iPrep, yes. iPrep. Prep, yes. iPrep. Yes, iPrep Online. Then you have Gradely. Gradely is another platform that is very good. Gradely. 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 You have Blooming Kids. You have Giant Strides. This new lady that is just starting, she's doing well now. You have Tutoria. Tutoria is by Godwin Benson, very big platform. You have My Tutor NG. You have Prep Class NG. So direct hire. You can work up. You can work up with some of these people. Then of course I can even recommend. But before we recommend, we have to see some level of work we have done. Follow Ade, Grace are also employing. You can start with that. Now, what I encourage is that either you start with direct hire or you do go for tutoring marketplace. They give you experiences. A lot of people want to start their own. The third one is starting your own. But I usually encourage that because like me now, I made a lot of mistakes in terms of negotiation, in terms of branding, because the experience was not there. Now I can put people through. So I usually encourage that you start from those people. At least work 3 months, 4 months in mind that you want to start your own. Then if you are starting your own, how do you start? After you have garnered a lot of experiences, you can do flyers. You can even meet with church members to start with at a low price. Don't expect that because Emerald said he's getting 100,000 is the minimum. You now want to start with 100,000. Your own may not be like that because you are just starting. It is when people start to know you gradually. You can even start with just 30, 40 to start with. And then from there, you start to scale. But in starting your own, again, gain experience, then have flyer, run ads, meet with people in schools, meet with co-educators, meet people with church. So don't rush. And then again, this thing requires patience. People that you see that are making it today, they started far way back. So you don't rush. Now, because they say 5 minutes, so that I can accommodate question. Like I said, I didn't even use slide. It's supposed to be a workshop. Now, I want to mention something. In online teaching, There are three things that I want us to pay attention to. Number one, lesson preparation. It requires three things: your lesson preparation, your lesson presentation, and your lesson assessment. Lesson preparation, presentation, and assessment. In lesson preparation, it might be a bit different from what you do in conventional class, because any online class that is not engaging, you are wasting your time. In fact, the main focus is activity-based learning, because it is very difficult to hold attention of people online. Very difficult. In fact, the attention span of an average person online is 30 minutes. If you have attended online classes very well, after 30 minutes or maximum 1 hour, your mind will just be wondering, I've not done this, I've not done this, I've not done this. So it is very difficult to hold people's attention. And then one of the things I tell some of my students is that your session should not be more than 1 hour. Because it's so that you want to impress, and say, I'll be taking it for 2 hours a day. You are wasting your time. Because in the long run, it won't be effective. There is no way you can hold a child online for 2 hours. So you start with 30-40 minutes. In fact, if you are starting with, when I was a VP card, if you are running a flip classroom, because I told all the teachers, start with flip classroom. If you are running a dark, your maximum video should be 20 minutes. I tell them why, because in 20 minutes, whatever you can capture in that 20 minutes goes a long way. It's more effective than doing 1 hour. So your lesson preparation must be such that it engages learners. Active learning. And then again, of course you have to know tools to use to prepare lessons. By now, I expect everybody to know how to use slides. If you don't know, go and learn. Slides. Using Microsoft Slide, Google Slides, and so on. Even small WPS. Do that. And then this in as grade. The more you do, the more you get better. Again, the next one is a lesson presentation. When you have prepared lesson well, your presentation will be, you have confidence to present. And that's why preparation have effect on presentation. So there is a way to present lesson online.